But
All right, we are live. We are live. We are live. We are live.
yes, we are alive and well. All right, all right, all right.
We are live, live, live. King Talk is live.
Yeah.
Happy 20, happy 2021. Bam, 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 bam.
Happy 2021
Happy 2021.
And
or
early
something like
Valentine's
that.
month.
Um,
Something like that. I don't.
Alex is jamming.
What? Oh yeah.
Hey, family, hey, family, hey, family. We are live. King Talk is live. We already
Welcome
got like one
everybody.
person in.
Well, welcome to that one person.
Welcome
We
to the
doing
one
stuff over
person that's in here.
yeah,
We greatly appreciate you on a Wednesday night. Let me go ahead and shut this down. Just trying to wait,
Let people get off work and jump
I would
in.
also like to say that we don't own any copyrights to this music at all. We don't own no copyrights to this music. So please don't come after us. We love the energy.
Nah.
Shout out to Minnie Ripperton.
All right.
All right, we got like two people. We already got like two people. We
Hey,
got
two
like
people.
Tony Johnson. We got Tony Johnson in here.
What
Let me
up,
go ahead and
Tony?
put this. Let me put him up here.
That's one of my
Hey,
bros. All right,
hey,
Tony
Tony,
John.
how you doing, Tony? How you doing? How you doing, Tony? Uh,
What up,
let me.
Tony?
How you doing, Tony? It's good to see you, brother. It's good to see you, brother. We got three people
yes.
in the house so far. Thank you for coming on, peeps. Thank you for coming on, family. We are very, very you know, we're happy that you're here. We're always happy, that you're here on King Talk, that sort of thing. Let me go ahead and
Always.
turn this thing off and let my esteemed my esteemed co-hosts and the other guests who are here. We're waiting on some others, but my esteemed co-hosts and my other guests who are here to go ahead and introduce themselves.
Well, first up, I'm gonna let the guests introduce themselves first. And I got a message from Kenya. She's trying to use her uh old device, which is not allowing her to get on. Um, and I don't want to click on that little icon messenger thing because it might knock me off. So
Right.
to respond to her. So she's been trying to get on, but she hasn't been able to. So uh we'll let the goddess in the building introduce herself first.
Well, greetings, everyone near and far. My name is Content Johnson. I'm out here in Alexandria, Virginia,
All right.
staying as black as I can be out here in Northern Virginia. But
Right.
That
other than
boss.
that, I'm just here on King Talk to celebrate with the kings and reason with all of you all.
Right. Right. Right.
All right. Brother Tony B.
Yeah, so I was thinking about what to say. I'm just gonna follow suit, right? Here in the DC area, myself, entrepreneur, enjoying this time and space together. Thanks again for setting this up and allowing me to be here. Looking forward to the talk tonight.
Awesome.
Ashe. And of
Ashe.
course,
Awesome.
this brother right here, the great Doshan Farad.
Oh, I'm honored.
journalist extraordinaire. Please introduce yourself.
I'm honored. Dashan Farad, Extraction Attraction. We have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe to us. I'm here in New York City area. And, I always say that whatever you are a part of, any field, if you are black, be revolutionary in it. And as one of my idols, Ed Gordon, said some time ago, I'm not a black man who happens to be, I should say, I'm not a journalist who happens to be a black man. I'm a black man who happens to be a journalist.
Mm.
And
Awesome.
so my number one concern is the worldwide or global black majority, not minority, but the black majority or black community. And I'm very honored to be a part of this gathering. And I keep saying all the time, those who are just now tuning in, make sure you support, listen to my words carefully. Don't support black media, support independent and revolutionary black media.
Ashe.
Ashe, definitely.
And piggybacking off of that, well, you all know that I'm called Taze Ransom, one of the co-hosts for King Talk, and I want to piggyback off what Brother Doshawn said about what he just said about being black first. I'm the same way, and that reminds me of something that Toni Morrison had said in an interview. I forgot who that Caucasian journalist was that was interviewing her when he asked her, does she get tired of being called a black writer? And she said, no, actually, I prefer to be called a black writer. She said, what I get tired of is being asked, do I get tired of it? Is this there's something wrong with being called a black writer? Uh, you know, I don't have an issue with being called a black writer myself because I'm proud of my blackness and I focus my writing on our people. I'm very intentional with what I write. So that's what I'm all about. I've dedicated myself and my artistry to our people. I'm an empath for our people. Um, I'm just all about us. Period. So that's all I want to say. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that our guests are here. Uh, family.
Yes.
Ashe.
Awesome. Ashe.
Hey.
Ashe. And I am Alex. I am Alex Iowas, and I am a seeker. I am a thinker. I'm a jack of all trades. I do a lot of things. I have my hands, in a lot of I have like a lot of arms in the fire, that sort of a thing. And I'm really, really, truly, truly happy to be here as well. I also go hard for my people. I care for my people, as far as what's relative, to, the collective black mass subconscious. And I do a lot of work on that level, as far as presenting archetypes to that collective, so that we can heal, we can reclaim our narratives, particularly on that particular level, and as far as symbolism is concerned, so that we can empower ourselves, because we realize, that the mind is all, and the universe is mental. The mind is all, and the universe is mental. So going with that first adage, of the 7 Hermetic laws, that's where in so many ways and aspects, that's where I'm really coming from. I want to empower our people on a, and what shall we say, on a very, very primordial level, on a deep mental level, that sort of thing. And so a lot of what I do and a lot of what I write and what I'm about and what I think about and that sort of thing resonates from that particular area. So that's me, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have all of our esteemed guests and co-hosts here. We are missing 2, as was just mentioned, we are missing 2, but basically what we're going to do, we're just going to just jump right into it, family. If y'all are ready, we're just going to basically go into, to some of the pivotal events that happened during the very, very tumultuous year of 2020. We understand that 2020 was a very tumultuous year, very, very challenging year for our people. And so, you know, I want to, kind of like, I don't necessarily want to like do it like a theme. I want to just kind of like, in a sense, throw it out there. And whatever pivotal event happened for y'all last year, y'all, y'all can go ahead and y'all can talk about that sort of thing. And but I also have a list of things too as well. Things that happened during that year, and it was a lot. It's really I got a lot, particularly on January the 9th, the World Health Organization announced the deadly coronavirus / COVID-19 that had emerged in Wuhan, China, and right now, as far as what the World Health Organization is concerned and what their count is, 2.16 million people worldwide have perished from this particular scourge, pandemic, psyops, pandemic, however which way you want to
You said 2 million?
huh?
2 million?
0.1.
2 point, wow.
2
All over.
0.16 million people, as as per the estimates, the latest estimates of the World Health Organization, have worldwide have died from it. As far as the infections are above 100 million infections according to their count, that sort of thing. So we understand that was one of the most pivotal things that happened in 2020 to shape our lives and mold our lives, even to this, even into the time that we are in, like right now, like even right up to this very moment, we're still being impacted by what has happened and that sort of thing. So, what are some of your thoughts on that, family? And it is what it is.
Don't all jump in at once.
I know it's big, but I know I understand it's something that is a lot of it's a lot that to try to wrap your head around, that sort of a thing. But it really truly has impacted us in our lives, that sort of thing, as a people. So how do you feel about it? How can we learn from it? What do we learn from it? How can we continue to learn from it? How can we empower ourselves from it? Basically,
leadership was a major issue. Can y'all hear me? Because I just got notification that the internet.
We can hear you. Turn yourself up a little bit, sister. Sister Johnson. Yeah.
And I mean, it just kind of points out just the importance of clear and appropriate leadership. Like, anybody can't just lead you. You can have all of the accolades and all of this behind you, but if you just don't even have a conscience to just do the right thing, even if it's not written down on paper, you know what I'm saying? There's a problem. So I mean, the major issue in this country, I mean, with it just lacking all kind of morality, but we are not led by people who are selfless. It's people who are self-seeking, and people who are just arrogant. Like just how you said, January 9th, the information came early enough for us to even think about it, but because that's just a hoax, and people not really just taking it seriously because of leadership putting it out there to not take it seriously. So I mean, I don't know what we're gonna do, staying being captives in this spiritless, corrupt place, because we gonna die here. We keep messing with them. We talked about the Hunger Games last time, but that's
now see.
go ahead. I ain't even getting. Go ahead.
Oh wow. See, you get me started now, because I've been trying to tell us to get away to get up out this shit for a long time. For several years, I've been telling us to plan and strategize to get away from this, to start working towards building our own and declaring sovereignty and everything. But uh unfortunately, so many of our people are comfortable on the plantation.
Hmm.
Unfortunately. Now, yes, this thing has been very impactful because when they first started to shut everything down, I was in the middle of rehearsing for a production, and things were really starting to pick up with my very blackety black theater company. The name of my theater company says it's black, and somebody wanted me to take the blackness out of it because he said he could get me some help if I was to take the black out of my theater company name. But I refused to do that.
Mhm.
I'm not doing that. I'm not compromising. But it's been very impactful because it's affected the way that we live and our everyday business. Uh, the way that things were beginning to take off for my black theater company, finally. But then this thing happened and shut everything down. Unfortunately, um, you know, it's just been very draining and very exhausting. On top of everything else, and one of the things that you know happened to me, like at the beginning of this thing, where they were starting to shut things down, is I was like on the edge of having a I don't want to call it a breakdown, but that might have been what it was. I became very intense, and my body felt like I just needed to release a lot of tension that was within me. Because, as you know, those of us who are for our people and who fight for our people, it could be very challenging when we're constantly attacked by our own people for doing that because we've been programmed to look out for those other beings. Um, and so black people will attack black people who stand up for black people like that to defend them. And that becomes very exhausting and taxing. And I got to a point where I was about to have a little breakdown in a way because I was being attacked by black people for standing up for black people because they feel like I'm going against white folks and they feel like I hate white people. I'm like I said before, it takes energy to hate people. Okay, it takes energy to hate. I'm not even checking for them like that. Okay, my energy is focused on us as a people. So this year, 2020, um, it's just been one big hot mess. And I feel like if we had got on the ball a while ago, we wouldn't even be caught up in the middle of this right
We,
now.
I completely agree. Of our brother here, Jeff Ragland, just said our mental health is very important in our community, and that's almost like a segue into, or shall we say, piggyback off of what you were saying, Cortez, and what you were saying, Sister Content. It's the way that it has affected us mentally and how we process things, that sort of thing, is particularly um, jarring in a sense, because I've seen a lot of us are almost like in a mental fog. It's like we don't know when it's Tuesday, when it's Thursday, when it's Friday, when it's next Wednesday, that sort of thing. Some of us are so, they got us so locked
Yeah.
into,
There was
our computers, and we're not allowed to really, we're a touching and a feeling people, and a lot of us like to get out. So it's like that isolation, and the being the feeling of being cut off, that sort of thing has really truly affected us. Did anybody else want to say something? That sort of thing.
well, you bring up something very interesting, or Brother Jeff does. I can remember when I was a teenager, I was watching Lead Story that was hosted by Ed Gordon on BET. And our brother who passed on to the ancestors, George Curry of Emerge Magazine, had stated out flat that most white Americans cannot handle the psyche of being Black, particularly here in America. And so what we see constantly is that we see constantly manifested what Dr. Joy DeGroy stated in her book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, I believe, or Post-Traumatic Slave Disorder. I'm sorry, because there were two books written on the same subject, if you would, and almost identical titles, but you understand what I'm talking about. And of course, Dr. DeGroy was a psychologist, and before her, there were other prominent Black psychologists, such as Dr. Naeem Akbar, that would also go into the same subject, explaining that our situation here in America has caused us to develop a very unique mindset. Keep in mind, what is considered to be an African American, us, we are a very new people. We are only several hundred years old. And our experience of white supremacy, racism, and Jim Crow, and of course, with forced miscegenation, it produced a new people. African Americans are a relatively new ethnicity, in existence. And the thing about the COVID crisis, 2020, what last year showed us, that even during a pandemic, Black people are still catching hell, whether it's from us dying of COVID or contracting COVID quicker, us being shot down by the police. See, these are things that constantly impact our psyche. It makes us crazy. Right. It actually, first of all, anyone living under a white supremacist system is crazy. As Francis Cress Welsing pointed out, white folks are crazy for their superiority complex, and of course, what they put on us made us crazy, us having an inferiority complex. But this is what this experience teaches us. Last year is that Black people are still going to be at the top of catching hell.
Right, because we understand that when the COVID crisis, or shall we say, or what I would call the COVID psyops happened, it was predominantly decimating Europe. It was decimating Europe, and then all of a sudden, we became the poster children for this particular psyops, and this war against our minds and against our psyches as a people, most definitely, because we weren't predominantly the ones who were dying from it, that sort of thing. Now, when you ask all of the, shall we say, all of the pundits and the experts, they're saying that we're way more impacted by this thing than other groups of people. Although in my own circumference, I'm not seeing that. Everybody that I'm seeing around me are well. Then I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we're not impacted by it. What I'm basically saying is what I see them reporting on the news and what I see in my everyday reality are really truly two different things. And I feel, as far as this whole thing is concerned, especially now that we're in an area, as the sister Content pointed out, that it's getting serious. We're going to have to make some decisions, because they want to put this stuff in. As far as the vaccine is concerned, they want to put this into our bodies, that sort of thing. And how can we trust a government who has a history of poisoning us when we don't even know that we're actually truly being poisoned, and we don't really even realize the devastating effects of that until years later down the line. Mm-hmm. So as far as the vaccine is concerned, how do you guys feel about that? Because it's serious. It's going to get to a point, to me. I mean, how everything is rolling out now, it's going to get to a point where it's like, either you take this vaccine or else. That's right. What it seems like. So
I'm just gonna wait, see what happens to the first batch, so to speak. But I'm not, running in line trying to, give me the vaccine and so on and so forth, because truly you don't know. I think historically we've seen that there's been a lack of transparency and just with the leadership and administration, and it just being the government, right? I think what's generally touted is that governments are corrupt. You can't trust the government, and there are a lot of things that are kept from us. And I want to say, even before it was announced as this coronavirus pandemic, things were happening toward the end of 2019 or fall of 2019, where I know a few people who were getting sick or just not well and in the hospital, and then they came out seemingly well, better, still have some lingering effects, right? But then fast forward to January, February, March. Oh, this pandemic. Oh, the coronavirus. I feel like they knew something back then, but wasn't telling us, and to an extent, it was trying to. Um, there was some type of population control aspect or manipulation involved. I'm not trying to be much of a conspiracist, but I just never really trusted the government anyway, even though I was a part of it for about 13 years. um, but yeah, it's just I don't know. It just so much for me showed up, and I don't know how to just summarize it or put it into a few words.
And that's
Right.
interesting that you say that too, because especially with a lot of people in the healthcare field, they're like, okay, well, oh yeah, well, I'm running, to get it, I'm gonna get it, and coronavirus isn't new. I mean, of course, when you look on the back of the what is it, the Lysol wipes and stuff, and you see,
Hmm.
coronavirus and stuff like that, it's just like, okay, well, it's always been out there, but how serious were they taking, the research on it all along? Were they, making, mutations and even just practicing, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because the way I
Yep.
feel is like, okay, all right, yeah, there was a type of coronavirus that was out there, but, it wasn't to this level. But how long have they tested this really, really?
Right.
People like, okay, well, what about, the polio vaccine and all that stuff? I'm like, that was so long ago, I mean, that has had decades to prove that it works. Okay, you know what I'm saying? We've only had what, 10 months, 10 months to
Right.
just see. But I mean, but just with that whole trust factor, I mean, you can't judge people for, questioning it. People that understand our history and her story in its place, we know
Uh-huh.
what they've done, in the medical field. So, they can't knock us, but there's many people
Hmm.
who's knocking us, and they're getting people that look like us who work in the field that's trying to push it and saying, oh, it's okay. I'm like, okay, let me see your arm. Let me see your arm in 6 months. So
And then on top
Actually,
of that, having to have a second dose or something like that too. You have to
yeah.
have a.
yeah, you gotta get two doses. I think with the Pfizer, you gotta get like two doses. With the
Hmm.
Moderna, I think it's only one dose, if I'm not mistaken. And then they're rolling out another one where it's only one shot and that's it.
Yeah.
But with the wait a minute, hold on. With both, I know with the Moderna and the Pfizer, it's two shots you got to get. You got to get one, and then you got to wait. I think a couple of weeks later, and you got to get another shot, and that's
Yeah.
sort of the thing. And there have been adverse effects from it. There have been people who have been adversely affected from it. People in my own personal
Hmm.
circles who have gotten it and they've had adverse effects from it and not good effects
Hmm.
from it.
Mhm.
That sort of thing. And so I'm not just going off of, what has historically been done to us as a people. This is in my personal
Hmm.
Mhm.
place.
Right. And
Go ahead.
I also have a friend that lives in Virginia named Billy who took the first dose and got sick as a dog uh, for quite a few days. He feels okay now, but he's planning on going back to get that second shot. I don't understand that, but I just would not be letting them put some that in me. I just can't do it. And the whole thing about waiting to see, as I've always said, trying to wait it out to see how it affects people. Those side effects may not show up right away. They may not show up to a few years later.
Right.
And then as you know, there'll be some commercial on television from some law office saying that you or somebody in your family take this vaccine, call us now because you may have a patient too. Right.
But I just feel like if the research really was that solid all along, and they've been aware of this. As soon as those first people started getting sick, they should have been like, "Oh, all right, well, we've been working on this all along. Here goes a shot."
Right.
So
And
the fact that
and
they
the whole
weren't ready for that.
yeah, and the whole thing about us becoming the poster children, I knew that was going to happen before they started saying it.
Well, it was
At first, because and I had made a post on Facebook. I said they're going to start saying that we're more susceptible to it. And people got on my post and was arguing with me like you're crazy. They're not going to say that
and I
because
remember
everybody is getting it. Yeah. And so
it's
and so
remarkable to me.
right. And then a month and a half later, what's all over the news? A month and a half after I said that, Black people get it more.
Well,
I knew
my
it was
concern.
because-
This is my concern was, of course, how the I don't want to say the blame was shifted. What I remember last year, when you would have Black people, doing memes, or there were other Black media personalities online having segments called, for example, Hotep News. Okay, jumping on Black people like us for
Right.
raising concerns about
Wow.
Corona. And then this is at a time when, remember, it was primarily white folks and Asians who were catching it. Remember, it wasn't us really. And then all of a sudden
Right.
we become that. And so
Mhm.
now it's still remarkable to me how you have many people within the Black community who will criticize other Black people for being hesitant to take this vaccine. And what has sickened me for quite some time before COVID is
Right.
the, as Michael Everett Dyson refers to it, the Afro-amnesia that many Black people have. Okay, many of us have either forgotten or are unaware of racism, white supremacy, what we've been dealing with for so many centuries, to the point that we have become naive. Okay, I mean, you have and I'll say this all the time too. Most African Americans, forget about white folks, forget about Asians. Most African Americans are not aware of COINTELPRO, the Tuskegee experiment. Okay, most of us are not. And just to clarify, we have to make sure that our information is right and exact. The Tuskegee experiment, those brothers were not injected with syphilis. They had syphilis. The government knew it, and instead of the government treating them, the government had used them as test subjects to see what would happen if syphilis is left untreated. Nonetheless, it was still a medical experiment. And of course, we have to remember the book, Medical Apartheid. Okay, so so my thing is this: you want to call me a Hotep, because that's one of the things they say about us, quote, Hoteps, that we believe in wild conspiracy theorists. And one of the things that I wrote an article in response to Damon Young, because he was one of them that was putting that out some time ago, called "I'm a Proud Hotep." And I said, you say that Hoteps believe in wild, ridiculous conspiracy theories. I said, well, the Tuskegee experiment, I asked the question in my article. I said, what? I said, conspiracy theories. I said, are you talking about Tuskegee? Are you talking about the COINTELPRO? Are you talking about crack cocaine epidemic? I said, well, no, these are conspiracy facts.
Right.
And as Dr. Cornel West stated a long time ago, okay, when you're a community that is constantly terrorized, brutalized, the Black community, you start to ask yourself the question, well, wait a minute, at what point is my paranoia invalid?
Most definitely. It's like we want so much, to believe, that they would have our best interests in mind. When we refer to our history, we realize, that they haven't, that sort of thing. Even when, they brought those measles over here, when they had those measles, those blankets, when they brought all types of smallpox, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was something that really truly decimated our people. That sort of thing. If we can refer to history, and we can refer to different epochs in history where we were negatively affected and we were decimated by what they did to us, as far as disease is concerned, it's it's no question. It's no question that it's no question that I'm going to have suspicion as far as this vaccine that's rolled out very quickly. It's adversely affecting people. People are dying from it. They are dying from it. And I really truly think that should be a really cause for alarm and concern amongst our people. That sort of
Yeah.
thing.
It should be.
They're either dying from it or developing some type of issue, like the black nurse, the sister who developed Bell's palsy, where one side of her face dropped.
Right.
Uh,
And then Hank Aaron, who volunteered. Hank Aaron, peace be upon that brother, and happy ancestral return to that brother. The great, athlete and the great example of black excellence that he was for us as a people, volunteered to take. And Hank Aaron provides so many things. He volunteered to take this particular vaccine, y'all, and days later, after he took it,
well, brothers, I want to let you know, Brother Alex, just to be clear, and I'm only repeating what a report came out maybe 2 hours ago. A medical examiner says that's not why he died. A medical examiner. Of course, we have to investigate that, but a lot of folks are saying what you're saying, of course, but some might say quite naturally. A medical examiner came out today, at least 2 hours ago, saying that's not what he died, saying that it was unrelated.
Yeah,
right.
Well, are those the things?
I'm not saying, and let me as far as clarifying that, I'm not saying that he had died. I didn't actually say that he exactly died from that sort of thing. What I'm saying is he really truly seemed to be healthy before he stuck out his arm and he took it, and then afterwards he just up and just transitions. So it's not so much I'm saying that was the real reason why I'm just saying people are taking it and they're getting complications from it. And I don't think they're being completely, only thing I'm saying is I don't think they're being completely honest and forthright about what this vaccine is, what's being introduced to our bodies as far as the technology concerned with this vaccine that's being introduced to our bodies. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he actually really, really, truly died, from that. I'm saying that there may be some type of correlation, but you're saying not. So I can.
All I know is it's a no for me. It's a no for me, baby.
I mean,
it's a no for me too.
me as well.
It's a no for me as well. And as far as these medical examiners are concerned, those are the same medical examiners who verify the lies when they declare when black folks have been found or black men have been found hanging from trees in recent history, and they declare those suicides. The coroner's office back up those lies. Okay, because we all know that black folks are not going out to some park or wherever
I remember something like that.
And climbing up in a tree and hanging themselves. But they call it a suicide. They call it a suicide, and the coroner's office back up those lies. See, racists are not just on the police force, not only on the police force, they're in every walk of life, every profession, including the coroner.
All levels, brother.
I forgot about that story too. Was that in California?
It was more than one of them. It was more than one case.
Oh wow!
And then remember, y'all, the black doctor who was a doctor herself, who was on her deathbed, on her way out of here, and was complaining about how racist the doctors were, and and the medical staff were, in the way that she was being treated, right up to the moment when she transitioned right up out of here. So let me clarify again. I'm not saying that Hank Aaron, I don't know what he particularly transitioned from. I'm just saying they're not being completely honest with us, fam, about what's going on with this vaccine, and we should be very, very highly concerned about it, before, we put something in, just put our arms out there and get something injected into us. And we understand what the history of this government has been in relation to the health of Black bodies, that sort of thing. So,
And just thinking about everything too, it seems like we just kept getting beat up and beat up. In 2020, it was event after event. I know yesterday was the what anniversary? I don't want to use the word anniversary, but of Kobe and Gigi,
right,
that passing. That was
that actually
it was
happened.
one thing after another, right?
Yeah, we had the coronavirus that happened, and then pretty much after that was the whole, what was it? Kobe Bryant passed on January 26th of last year. He got into, of course, he, tragically died, with his beautiful daughter in a helicopter crash. The helicopter malfunctioned, what I hear, and it crashed. They were on their way to a facility, and it crashed, and then it really did affect a lot of us, as a people, that sort of thing. If y'all want to build on that, that sort of thing. I know my brother was particularly affected by that, because of him. He's a basketball enthusiast, and so Kobe Bryant was just like one of his idols. It was just like his world, that sort of thing. And so, I don't have much to say about it because I wasn't so much of a fan of his, or I really don't get into football, into sports that way, that sort of thing. So I really can't say it really greatly affected me, but it was one of the, in a sense, where it created ripples on
Yeah, there was like this
people, that sort of thing.
collective feeling, like this collective blow or impact to the Black community, and especially the NBA and people who follow the NBA, right? And for me, just watching his whole, what do you call it, the funeral, homegoing, the live streaming of the celebration of his life and his life, just seeing all the imagery and the videos and listening to him talk in interviews. He really seemed to be a dope kind of guy. And I think that just all over, no matter where you come from or where you live, there was a collective, like blow to the Black community. And I feel like from there, it was just boom, 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 blow after blow. Oh, we got this going on. Oh, now we got this person,
Right.
I fully recovered from 2020. We're still going through it.
There's remnants of it, just like we had the brother Ahmaud Arbery, who was murdered on February the 23rd.
See?
In Brunswick, Georgia. He was jogging. Of course, he's pursued by two suspects who murdered him apparently for just jogging while Black, that sort of thing. Then on March the 13th, Breonna Taylor was murdered while she was sitting in her apartment in Louisville, Kentucky. And there's still reverberations from that. And, as the brother, Tony B, is so pointed out, it was just one thing after another, or one thing after another. Then, of course, on, we're jumping down into, go ahead.
And with Ahmaud Arbery, he was murdered like in February, but they tried to cover it up, so it didn't. They attempted to cover it up, so it didn't really make it to most people until like 3 months after he was murdered.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
Because they were trying to cover it up and protect those murderers, the racist murderers. So
right, and was
tragic. Oh, go ahead.
And I forget what it was, one of those government officials down there who was a Black man who was in cahoots with them, trying to cover this particular murder up. And that's why it really did not come to light until February of last year, even though it did happen, as the brother Cortez pointed out, it did happen a few months before. It was just covered up and it wasn't revealed until that particular time. And right now, it's some fallout from that Black official. He was, I forget who he was exactly as far as his title is concerned. It's some fallout going on right now relative to what he did to
In
some of the
the Breonna Taylor case,
cover it
yeah.
up. Huh?
You talking about that one, the one who was the DA in the Breonna Taylor case? Yeah.
No, wasn't he? Yeah, he was the one that Breonna.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
got it mixed up with the Ahmaud Arbery. Sorry about
Mhm.
that. Yeah,
No problem.
and so we can move right on to George Floyd, and that happened in May of
Right.
last year. Then, of course,
Mm-hmm.
the subsequent protests all over the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, that happened because of that. And my whole view on that is how the energy. I remember on my way home. This was in the summer of last year, right around this particular time, and seeing some of the protests that were happening in Baltimore at that time, and seeing that it was predominantly Caucasian people who were out here protesting the murder of George
George
Floyd,
Floyd.
and how the energy, shall we say, the energy was being co-opted, from us as far as the protest was concerned. It was being co-opted, and a lot of the narratives were being, shall we say, reworked, and not, to, as far as it's being reworked, not to what we've always historically gone through here as a people.
Mm-hmm.
What I was seeing. That's what.
Yeah, that was a wow. I don't even know what to say or call that.
Well, a lot of it was for show and to help put us back to sleep because more and more black people were starting to quote unquote wake up. Uh, and so white folks jumped on the bandwagon, started walking down the street yelling Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. And of course, most of our people fell for that because we always want to believe the best about those other people, those beings. Um, so, you know, I could see through it. I'm not saying that none of them were sincere, but a whole lot of that was fake and phony, just to co-opt the movement and to pull us off of being awoke about the situation. Um, just like what's going on now, with this whole thing, what happened on January 6th, which we're supposed to get to a little later. Um, and we mentioned Kobe Bryant already. Rest in power to the brother and
Mhm.
his daughter. Um, we also wanted to talk about Chadwick Boseman.
He passed on August the 28th of last year, and of course the reverberations that went through about that particular brother. And this is a brother particularly where I was concerned. It really it hit it. It kind of hit me hard. For the plain simple fact is he really truly did strive to use his art to uplift us as a people. So yeah.
Right, and that's why I felt a connection to him. Also being an actor myself and being a artist and a writer, and the fact that I've dedicated my artistry to uplifting our people and empowering our people, and the fact that he was also dedicated to the same thing. So I was affected by his death because I was hoping to be able to meet the brother one of these days, stuff like that.
Mhm.
And when I first saw that picture of him, looking frail, I kind of could tell. I could tell, not kind of. I could tell something was wrong. I just didn't know what. But I know you said earlier, Alex, that you thought that maybe he was just getting prepared for a role, and I
Right.
and I
That's what
and
I
I,
thought
and,
it was.
yeah, and I know a sister who said the same. Well, she said actually, she said I hope. She said, did you see that picture of Chadwick Boseman? She said I hope that's for a role. So she was hoping that he was uh looking that way for a role, but I didn't, think it was for a
No,
role.
no, I didn't. No,
I,
I certainly didn't either.
yeah, and it's sad what he went through and the fact that he was being attacked by people on Instagram about his appearance, and they attacked him so much that he shut down. I think he shut down the comments or whatever on his Instagram, or shut down his Instagram because
He did. He
it,
removed. He had put a picture up there, and he did it, because, and there was something related to that where he put it up there for a drive that he was doing. I forget what it was. He put it up there for a drive that he was doing for a charity.
right.
And when the people saw the picture, they started to attack him. They started to, of course, deride him. They started to mock him, that sort of thing. And I guess I felt that, it was so vicious. They were so vicious in their attacks on him and them, making fun of him, that he ultimately pulled the whole post down. And then sadly, subsequently after that is when he transitioned. And then of course, probably those same people were, probably saying how much, they're going to miss him, but that sort of thing. A lot of times we don't get, it's all, relative, to what we do and what we symbolize while we're here. We don't really get the accolades for that until we transition on. That seems to be the sad, that seems to be the sad fact that goes on.
But that shit just makes me angry. That people would taunt him. And they were black people taunting him for him looking the way he did, looking sickly. Who does shit like that? You see a picture of someone not looking their best, and your first instinct is to taunt them and berate them, really? I don't understand that. And that shit just pisses me off, that people, it makes me angry, and it also makes me want to cry for the brother that he went through that he was dying, and you have these idiots taunting him about his appearance. I mean, there's just no excuse for that.
Every time I see stuff like that, especially online, I mean, we all know the internet can be a cruel place, right? And social media, how you use it, how people use it.
But these are not
a lot more about, the individual themselves. When I see stuff like that, I'm like, oh, obviously they're miserable in their life, or they don't have anything going on. It's just a lack of morals and values.
Right, and these are not even children. These are not teenagers. These are grown ass people. Grown ass people that taunted him, so much so that he had to shut down his Instagram.
Right.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And like I said, he did have it up there. It was a drive that he was doing, because he truly did use his art, like as I said before, to uplift us, to aggrandize us, that whole nine. And he was very, very gifted actor as well. So when he passed, it hit home a little bit for me, because of everything that I've seen him in. I've always thoroughly enjoyed him, and everything that I saw the brother in, and everything he did, even right up to that point where he did like the Five Bloods, was just spectacular. Was awesome. And so it was like a real, like when he passed, of course I enjoyed him in Black Panther and some of the other things he had played. Just recently saw him in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which he's very, 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 very good in that. That sort of thing. And then there's something else that he played that I have to catch him in as well. So of course he was probably trying to do as much as he could, before he got the diagnosis. And then of course, subsequently after he got the diagnosis, he was trying, he probably worked right up until the point, of his passing, that sort of thing. But definitely something pivotal, that happened with us as a people last year, most definitely.
And hopefully a takeaway can be, just be nicer to people. I know they say, and we say be kind pretty loosely, but genuinely be kind, because you never know what somebody may be suffering with on the inside. What internal illnesses you can't see. And I think a lot of times every day we put on a smile, we go to work, we show up on Zoom for meetings, and we try to be our best authentic selves. But on the inside, we probably have family problems going on, people in the hospital, our own issues with relationships and things like that. You never really know. So it's always important to be a little extra nice,
That's
nicer,
right.
kinder, you know?
Agreed.
Right.
Most definitely, most definitely, most definitely. Okay, I'm just going to rattle through some things, that sort of thing, because we do have like very, very important things. We're like almost an hour into it, that sort of thing. So I'm gonna rattle some things off. Whatever hits y'all, that y'all want to, talk about, we can talk about. On September the 18th, Ruth Bader Ginsburg transition. We understand, that tipped off, a balance as far as this, the Supreme Court is concerned, but she did pass on September the 18th of 2020. On October the 6th of 2020, Johnny Nash passed. Peace be upon that brother. Happy ancestral return to him. He was the guy that's saying, I can see clearly now the rain is gone.
Oh,
Mhm.
That was him. Of course, that hit home for me. That was always one of my favorite songs. That sort of thing. But good brother, most definitely. November the 8th, Alex Trebek of Jeopardy fame transitions, that sort of thing. And I've seen a lot of our people putting that up on, and Alex Trebek was Alex Trebek. I'm not going to, cast one side or the other, for him, that sort of thing. But he did go. He did transition on that day. On November the 3rd, Joe Biden was nominated president-elect. That was on November the 3rd. He was either on November the 3rd or November the 7th. In between those days, he was nominated president-elect, and of course, all of the fallout that happened from that. On December the 4th, Casey Goodson was another brother who was murdered, and sadly, we don't know what happened. This it's still I don't know I don't even know if the case is still being litigated, that sort of thing. But another brother who was just mercilessly shot down. He was just coming back from Subway out here, and they came up on him and thought he had a gun. He was on his way back from Subway, and boom, just another beautiful brother who was murdered in cold blood by these racist cops that are in it's been proven now that they ever since that quote unquote insurrection of January 6th, that they are in the actual ranks of the police forces of the United States of America. On December the 12th, Charlie Pride of country fame, black man, one of the biggest black country stars, or probably the most biggest black country star from all transitions. Happy ancestral return to that brother. On December the 21st, we had the Saturn Jupiter conjunction, and we're just going to keep it moving. On December the 21st. On December the 23rd, we had John Ecstasy Fletcher of Houdini fame. John Ecstasy Fletcher of Houdini fame, one of the legendary MCs for the legendary hip hop band Houdini, transitions on the 23rd of December of last year. And then, of course, on December the 25th, we have the bombing of Tennessee by
Nashville.
Bombing in Nashville, Tennessee by a Caucasian by the name of Anthony Warner. And we understand that was a forerunner for the so-called quote unquote insurrection that happened on January the 6th. So if y'all want to build on that, you can. On December the 20th, that was December the 25th. On December the 26th, Dr. George Carruthers of NASA fame. He was the brother who synthesized, or shall we say, created the telescopes for them to have the ability to take pictures in space. He was a brother. He transitions on December the 26th of last year as well. You know, that sort of thing. And then on pretty much right up to the end of 2020, we had the brother. We had right on December the 30th, actually, we had the brother, or shall we, the dancer. What's his name? Shabba-Doo. Peace be upon that brother, and happy ancestral return to him. His actual name, or he was also known as Adolfo Quiones. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Adolfo Quiones, also known as Shabba-Doo, Beat Street fame, if I'm not mistaken, transitions on December the 30th of last year. And then there was another brother who was mercilessly shot down on December 30th of last year, and that was the brother by the name of Dalal Id. Was murdered last year by one of these racist cops out here, that sort of thing. And that was right up to the time where, where we were coming out of, basically coming out of 2020, that sort of thing. So, stop me if you guys want to, build on some things, that sort of thing. I'm just throwing some stuff out, that sort of thing. So of course we had the insurrection, or what you want to call an insurrection, which I would call symbolism on January the 6th. So,
Well, I just wanted to say that Extraction Attraction, we had covered the Million Mega March and the Stop the Steal rally in DC, right after the election, last year. You can find that on our YouTube channel, Extraction Attraction. And based on what I was hearing from the participants of these two events that actually merged into one, and from what I saw, Trump supporters literally getting ready to bang out with Antifa supporters, white folks against white folks. People had been saying that something like this was already coming. Okay, you had folks within many of the Black nationalist circles, many people within the leftist circles and the extreme right circles were already saying that civil war was coming. But from within the Black community, you have people saying, well, civil war actually means, white civil war. and that's what we actually noticed, because I was in DC, just to let you know. Like I said, I covered that, but I was at a hotel in Chinatown right after we had went off air, because we were broadcasting all day. And so after I had left the area where, once again, the Million Mega March and the Stop the Steal rally, like I said, they had merged into one event near the Supreme Court, right outside the Supreme Court. After I left that, after we had been streaming both events that merged into one all day, I followed an Antifa march, once again, majority white folks. And so once we got to Chinatown, I was at a hotel in Chinatown in DC, and I saw the Antifa members, white folks, trying to break in the hotel to get to Trump supporters. They literally tried to rush the hotel. And Trump supporters were like, bring it, bring it. They were like, bring it. You have people running from upstairs, catching the elevators downstairs to fight them. And I'm like, wow, look at this. So it was so now, of course, when Antifa, destroys stuff, Black folk get the blame because they think that's us. But, so what we see now, the response that I was getting from the insurrection, and I think it could rightfully be called an insurrection. Okay, insurrection doesn't necessarily have to have a positive connotation. I mean, yeah, it was insurrect. Keep in mind, when people say, well, it was a riot, we have to understand that many historians say that the United States was founded as a result of a riot, the Revolutionary War. But I think it was rightfully so insurrection, right? They were going against their own government, white folks, for doing something that they were displeased by. But my point is, as Black people, the sentiment that I'm getting from people that I speak with across the nation is that this is a white problem. And we're just sitting back like, but I saw that already, like I said, in November when I had to cover the Stop the Steal rally and the Mega March, you know.
Well, yeah. While that was happening on January 6th, I saw a lot of "That's not our fight. That's not our fight" coming from Black people, and I was very pleased to see that. But they found a way to try to reel Black people back into that by holding that brother up, Eugene Goodman, as this hero, which I think that whole thing was set up. That he was in that hallway by himself, and supposedly leading those people away from the Senate chambers or whatever. I think that was a setup. So now they're holding up Eugene Goodman as this hero and everything, and I'm giving the brother his props. But that's something that they're using to keep Black people involved in that. In that mess, which we shouldn't even have anything to do with.
It just makes me, it's just real frustrating to see the difference in how we're treated, right? And how some people still mention, "Oh, I don't see color." I'm like, what?
First of all,
That's the crazy.
when they say that, that's insulting and that's racist. Anyway, to say you don't see color, so I gotta disappear for you to be comfortable with me.
It just doesn't make sense. And then I remember when the George Floyd protest popped off, I was out there, I was in DC and, marching, and just the police presence. I think the National Guard was called at some point. I went multiple times, and some places we couldn't even get close to. They were shooting their rubber bullets, and they had tear gas and things like that. And then now you see these people climbing up on the building and, getting inside the building. What? Ludicrous.
And they had help.
Oh, they had major help. Like I said, it basically
inside help.
It was inside help, and it basically proved these string of murders that I just rattled off to y'all were done by racist cops who are installed as lone wolves in the ranks, in the police ranks in America. Let's not be, not clear about that. And they did have help. They were taking selfies with them. They were letting them in. They were, and almost in a sense escorting them in there. So we understand that Caucasian people historically were, feudalists. They were always caught up in feudalism. It was war after war after war after war after war, Caucasian against Caucasian, until they brought that madness over here. So we do, as far as, what the brother, Deshaun was saying, this is basically what America was, or what they're calling America, or what they're calling the United States of America was born. It was born in feudalism. It was born in, that violence, in that hypocrisy, in the twisted psychopathology of Caucasian madness, that sort of thing. And so that's what you were seeing on January the 6th. Make no mistake about it. And when they did subsequent, investigations, a lot of the cops, were, racist sympathizers. They were white supremacist sympathizers, the whole nine. And so that's why they didn't get any type of. They only got very, very little resistance when they came in, and they invaded, invaded the Capitol that way. They were really truly trying to overthrow
Mm-hmm.
You know, in their minds, they were trying to overthrow the government, that sort of thing. Reason why I'm so iffy about the word insurrection is because of the symbolism, you know, that's attached to it. I think that a lot of our people aren't really truly getting the symbolism that's attached to it, that this really truly is them going against, you know, who they are and that sort of thing. So in so much in words, it's more of a feudalism than, you know, in a sense, of insurrection. And the reason why I say that is because most of the Senate now, you know, because they're trying to convict, you know, Mr. Trump for, they saying, you know, inciting him. He's already been impeached twice in the House of Representatives. In the Senate, they're not even trying to convict this man. You know, we understand that they convict him, he can't run. He's completely barred from office and he can't run anymore. And you had most of these Republican senators who are they're voting not to convict him. They're going to allow this thing to roll. They're going to allow this thing to walk. But then again, on the back end, we have to, in a sense, we have to respect what you guys are calling the law, that sort of thing. But y'all get to buck the law. You know, the law that we're getting killed and we're getting murdered in cold blood for.
Y'all can just skirt it.
Y'all can just skirt it and y'all can just, thank you. Somebody help me. Y'all can just skirt it and y'all can just, and so that's why I'm iffy about that word insurrection, in as far as if it wasn't just planned that way to try to tap us into this particular type of madness. You know, because we understand that they use symbolism, they take black faces, put them into strategic places to promulgate us and keep our minds rolling like we have some type of ownership in this, and we don't.
Right. And that's why
That's
sometimes I look and I just be like, you know, I wonder sometimes what the rest of the world finally sees as it relates to us African Americans in this place. Like, whenever something is going on in, you know, other countries and stuff, oh, come on over here, you know, here's a refuge, here's asylum and stuff. And it's just like, you know, is there anybody that does not see this craziness that we are facing here? And I mean, you know, I'm someone who likes to hang out on Google Maps and all this stuff. And I feel that if Google Maps and all that stuff was around when Marcus Garvey and them, we wouldn't even be here, because they would see all this land that does not have people around, and we'd have been built a whole nother nation. There's islands for sale right now. But, you know, I just wonder sometimes, you know, do the world finally see that, no, it's not just these movies. We not just, you know, shoot them up, kill. They the real shoot them up, kill people, not us. You know, so, you know,
Right.
sometimes I just wonder. It's just like, you know, will there ever be any place of refuge? Could there ever be any place of refuge? And if it were, how many of our people would actually be interested in, you know, building our own place, even if these shores here?
True. In as far as we can do that, because we understand that they, from these last two elections, you know, without the, what they were basically saying, without the black vote, Biden wouldn't be where he is right now. And those two senators, they wouldn't have a majority. Well, they don't actually have a majority in the Senate, but they do. We have tied the Senate up. And, you know, of course, we got Kamala for the tiebreaker. Mm-hmm. But without the black vote, that wouldn't be. They wouldn't have the White House. They wouldn't have the Senate if it was not for the black vote. So we're understanding that, in effect, they can't run this government. Mm-hmm. They cannot properly operate this government without black participation. Mm-hmm. It's almost in a sense that we, as a people, individually and collectively, actually are giving this particular government authenticity.
We pick our masters. We still pick our masters in a sense, you know.
And it's like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to mention, unfortunately, I got to hop off. I enjoyed the talk, always do. Thank you all for sharing the space. Love listening and learning, and I'll be looking forward to the next one, and I'll watch and see how this one ends too.
Yeah.
All right, Tony.
Seeing you
All right,
again.
Tony. Thank you
Same
for
here.
showing up, brother. And we'll see you again. Thank you, and have a good night. And be careful.
Good night. All right. Take
All
care.
right.
All right.
Peace,
See you.
brother.
Peace.
But I think about that like all the time. I just like, what happened to I think that we've lost. I mean, not just us losing because we didn't have other issues affecting us. We've just lost our spirit of discovery. We've lost that hunter-gatherer. Let's find our own way, do our own thing. We've lost that spirit. And I mean, sometimes I just think and say, when was the last time a new nation was created? Like literally, when was the last time a new country was created? Who created it? What did it take? Like,
Oh, South Sudan.
there. So
Sister, the South Sudan, beloved, in 2014.
yes, okay.
Okay, and I just had this discussion just the other night because they were tired. They were actually, since we're talking about white supremacy, of course, the South Sudan is where you actually will find that's basically Black Sudan.
Okay.
Where Northern Sudan, that would be, if you would, Arab Sudan. You see lighter skinned people up there. Okay, but so they were being oppressed from the north, and so they broke away. They had their own currency. They have their own currency. It's a separate, independent nation.
Okay. Yeah. I know people toil around with the idea as well, because I was in an Uber one day and there was a flag, that I didn't really recognize. And I asked the guy, I said, what's that flag? And then, I can't even recall the name right now, but he was telling me how they were trying, and it was somewhere in West Africa, I believe. But he was just telling me, just the things that they're going through to just basically have their own nation. And I mean,
wow. This is the first time I actually hearing about this. Brother Deshaun Farad.
Yes.
When did they actually conceive of the nation, and when was it actually, ratified into existence?
Well, they had been. Remember, this has actually been going on for decades. Because, like I said, was the South Sudan. Like I said, the oppression that they've gotten from, now when you go to North, and just to let you know, the majority of the Sudan, as they say, is Black. When you go to Northern Sudan, you'll find Black people that look like us. And when I say look like us, different shades. But those are the ones that have the lighter skinned Arab influence.
Okay.
But when you go to the South Sudan, that's when you find people that are the darkest in the world. The beautiful shiny melanin. Okay, but once again, that white mentality is still there. So the lighter you are, you're considered the better. And of course, in every society, you'll notice that it's always the lighter on top, as Brother Khalid had pointed out, whether it be the white European or the white Arab or the lighter skinned Asian, and it's always the darker one, the Black one on the bottom. So no, they've been talking about this for decades. And then it finally became a reality in 2014, I believe, either the winter or the spring. I actually covered that. As a matter of fact, I actually covered that from a distance when that was taking place. But no, South Sudan is a separate country. But they had their own currency, and they were, of course, they acknowledged by the UN as an independent nation. But keep in mind, they already had many things going for them as is. There's certain, when discussing nationhood, which is something that, it sickens me. We're talking about, our sister here mentioned us picking what slave master to follow. Whenever I've covered, usually every year I cover the Congressional Black Caucus's annual legislative conference, their convention. And I'm that reporter, I'm that journalist that I always ask the questions that make you want to say, oh, damn, did he really ask that? And I've asked the question, we always are talking about Black people suffering. And Marcus Garvey said that the Negro will never find justice in white society. We're always complaining. And, as Cornel West said, Garvey has yet to be proven wrong. Will we consider separating, to use the language of the Nation of Islam, and forming an independent nation that we can call our own? And of course, it wasn't Nation of Islam, wasn't the only ones that spoke that. You had the provisional government of New Africa. The original Black Panther Party said that there should be a plebiscite or a discussion discussing us doing that. Garvey said back to Africa. Various black organizations had said separating from white society. Okay, so we would never concede that. I mean, those of us, as Dr. John Henry Clark stated, most of us are not trying to fight white supremacy. We're trying to find a place in it. I believe Dr. Clark said that.
Mhm.
So this is the thing that I always say. Now, fine, if you want to stay here in America, okay,
Yeah.
since we have a stake here, we built this, okay,
Right.
but at the same time, don't keep complaining when you keep catching hell, okay?
Right.
Don't keep
Right.
complaining.
Right.
But that's
Right.
something, if you notice, the nationhood question, if you notice anything regarding nationalism, whenever speaking to African Americans, those who are considered to be younger African Americans, whether they be in high school, middle school, or college, we're always told about Dr. King, I Have a Dream, little white boys and little white girls, but we're never taught about those leaders that said, let us separate and do
Yep.
something for ourselves.
Yep.
What's
Well,
happening?
well, even with Martin Luther King Jr., they only quote his quotes that keep this society intact.
That's right.
They never quote the Martin Luther King Jr. who said, "I feared I've led my people into a burning house."
That's right.
They never repeat that. They never quote the Martin Luther King Jr. who was fighting for reparations at the
Mhm.
time he was murdered. They never quote the Martin Luther King Jr. who said, "Take your money out of that white bank and put your money into the black bank." They don't do that. We only
And
repeat that shit.
and keep in mind, Dr. King studied Garvey extensively when he was a grad student at I think Boston University when he was in seminary when he was getting his master's, I believe. He studied here when he was in his 20s. He studied Garvey heavily
Yeah.
because listen, family, I'm gonna have to get ready to cut this short. You see, my phone is winding down, and
Right.
where I'm at, just to let you know, if I take the earphone out, the conversation will be held. So I'm sharing this, this space with someone else, and it might disturb them. So I'm gonna have to cut it short because the phone's about to die. And
Okay.
it's the same plug that how these iPhones where I gotta
Yeah.
plug it into the same. So I'm gonna have to cut this short, family. Thank you very much for having me.
All right.
Okay, brother.
Thank you, brother Deshaun Brevard, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you again. What's
Thank
happening?
you. Like I said, it's my honor. I
Thank
don't know why this phone died not dying like that, but thank you. It's always my honor to join this wonderful show.
Thank
And it's
you.
always our honor to have you, brother Deshaun Brevard. Most
Thank you.
definitely.
Hotep, Black
Always.
Power.
What's that?
Hotep, Black Power.
And Black Power.
So speaking of having your own currency, is it just me? Because black people are excited about Harriet Tubman being put on that damn bill. I personally don't find that to be an honor. I don't find that to be an honor to put her on that money because they used to buy and sell out people.
Yeah.
So now you want to put her on that money, the same money that the slave masters are on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Finally.
I don't find that shit to be an honor. I don't find it to be an honor at all. I don't.
Take
I
that.
don't see the
It's an
point.
insult.
Personally, I don't see the point in it at all. I don't know. I mean, I didn't see the point back then putting her on there and how that's going to lend any credence to her the historical relevance of what she did and the amazing things that she did for our people and how that reverberates for us as far as our mind state still to this very day. So I don't get it. I don't see how, maybe I don't see it. I don't get why they want to do that. Or maybe that they thinking that some of our people who are easily duped would think that that's some type of reparations or something. That's the only sense I can probably even make out of why they would want to even do that.
I mean, my thing is, we get so caught up with, the tangible, money and stuff like that. But it's just like what we need is to focus on building wealth. You know what I'm saying? And that goes beyond, a form of, paper currency and stuff. And the only other, on the flip side, the only other way that I could even see that even making a pitch of even sense, if they say, all right, well, New Nation, we're going to change all the money to reflect, you know, our history and our heritage, because me being someone who has gone to the Caribbean and other places, I love seeing Black folks on the money, but it's a different spirit and a different energy and a different pride.
Right.
Places, you know what I'm saying? That's why I always encourage, you know, young people, yes, go to these other places so that you can see your people in power, and you also see them on the money as well. And not saying that, you know, they was the best people at all, you know, in all that, but, you know, it's a sense of pride in those places. But to just take off one face and then put one Black face on there and think that, okay, well, we solved it all and all that stuff. And it's just like, no, it can't be about that. And we can't get so caught up in that, because they're going to find a way to keep those Tubmans out of our pockets. So I think we can go and put it on there. But we need to focus on wealth. We need to get back into gold. We need to get back into, you know, that other type of stuff. And, you know,
right,
have they little paper money, you know. Go ahead. We got better stuff, you know.
No, I'm thinking that's what it is. They're trying to, with some of us, like I say, who are easily duped, they're trying to make us seem like, you know, that this is some type of honor or some type of reparation, you know, for y'all, some type of backwards reparations, just because you take her and put her on, you know, if you're gonna put her on something, why not put her on the $100 bill? You know, like, or make a whole nother
one, because we don't
make a whole new $200 bill.
Jamaica and them other places, they
make a whole new $200 bill and put her on there.
Bills. So make a whole nother, you know, yes, make a whole nother currency.
Right.
You must. I mean,
there you go. Then I'll be like, okay, that's a big up. You know, that's something to be
put on the 400.
You know, I mean, it's
the 400 plus.
Right. I mean, that's something to be. At least it's something. You gonna see her and put on, you know, the $20 bill, and that's supposedly gonna, you know, that's gonna correct something, you know, as far as what we've gone through here as a people. And that's just not the case. Nah, it's not.
They're gonna find a way to not be able to print it. Oh, we ran out of shortage. Oh, we lost her picture. I mean, they're gonna find a way. You know what I'm saying? We don't got no more ink. You know, she take a little more ink to draw. Right. You know the people.
Yeah, and as far as what she did for us as a people, are y'all going to put that on the back of the dollar bill?
Yes, have her holding a shotgun. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Y'all going to put?
No, you know good well they're not going to do that.
If y'all, that's what I'm saying.
Because they don't want
y'all gonna put that on the back of the dollar bill.
They don't want you Negroes getting no ideas. They don't want y'all getting no ideas about what the fuck.
Because think about it. What would they put on the back of that? You know what I'm saying? What would they?
Put her on the. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm like, what would they actually put on the back of that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, with her like with the gun, you know, got him right at the edge of the plantation with the gun right on him, telling them, listen, after you take this step right here, that's it. Ain't no turning back. And if you do, you're gonna get this right here.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Or I freed 1,000 slaves.
Mm-hmm.
I could have freed 1,000 more if they had just known that they were slaves. Are you going to take that and put that on the bill?
Exactly.
So that Black people can see that every day and then start getting in their minds what a self-determined government, you know, looks like and that sort of thing. If it's just going to be some type of empty, like I said, the symbolism is employed against us so much.
Yeah.
If you're just taking her symbol and putting it on there and it's just empty and it's not really building into what she actually did, the amazing things that this woman did to take down, you know, slavery and the Civil War, the whole nine, and plus free black people at the same time. If you're not going to build that into that symbolism, it's just empty symbolism, signifying nothing, and we're not going to. It's not going to empower us all as a people, not at all.
Yep, exactly. Because even like in Jamaica, on the $500 bill, I believe they have Queen Nanny of the Maroons. You know what I'm saying? In her head, and all that stuff. But people in the nation, they know what she's about, and in the revolutionary spirit. I can't remember what's on the back of it and stuff, but yeah.
Right.
So, what do y'all think about your boy Biden trying to get all these immigrants in the country?
I don't know.
Because I ask about that because I was watching Dr. Boyce Watkins. I know Alex is, but are you familiar with Boyce Watkins? Okay, so he was talking about the whole immigration thing, and some other people were as well. Dr. What's her name? Vicky Dillard. You know Vicky Dillard?
I've heard of her.
Vicky Dillard. She's a mess. Vicky
I've
Dillard.
heard of her. I don't
Vicky
know her.
Dillard.
I don't know her, like know her, but I've heard the name.
Yeah, she has she's a part of this thing called flybyqueen.com, flybynubianqueen.com or something. I'm gonna have to tag you in one of her videos or something.
Okay.
And she's got, because she be going off and stuff like that, and she's like, sit down with your funny looking self and all this kind of stuff. And she be getting on Roland Martin. She can't stand Roland Martin because Roland Martin came for her. But they was talking about the whole immigrant thing and how they believe that Biden's motives for trying to get all these immigrants, these Hispanic immigrants in the country, because make no mistake, they're not going to be African immigrants. He's trying to get as many Hispanic immigrants in this country as possible to try to attempt to take some of the power away from us, when it comes to the next election or whatever. Because remember, he made that comment, that flippant remark about Hispanics have diversity, unlike black people.
Right.
Not realizing that it's black people who speak Spanish too. Look like me and look like you.
Right. Yeah. And there's like
Exactly.
There's like an Afro Latina connection.
Right.
Most definitely. There's an Afro Cuban connection. Most definitely. And so we understand that they would try to create, some type of division between us and these people who are, shall we say, in a sense, more closely aligned to us as far as where they're coming from collectively and individually as a people too, as well. And maybe, just maybe, we could, put the strength together, between us and the so-called, Mexicans, or shall we say the so-called Latinas, that sort of a thing. I understand where you're coming from with that, Cortez, but I'm almost convinced moving forward, they're going to need black participation in this government to lend it any type of authenticity at all. They have to. They can't have us, as been, shall we say, the theme throughout the whole night. They can't have us succeeding from this nation. It's going to, because it's a wrap. It'll be over.
Y'all people don't want to leave anyway. Y'all happy on the plantation.
True, not me, honey.
Because y'all cousins and stuff be attacking me because I be talking about separation.
When you say our people, you mean some of our people. You don't mean all of our people.
I'm being sarcastic right now. I'm being playful.
And I'm being sarcastic.
Right.
I'm being sarcastic right back to you.
That's why I said. That's why I said. That's why I said y'all cousins and stuff be attacking me when I talk about separation.
That's why we went through the whole bill with the Harriet Tubman. What are you going to have Harriet Tubman doing on that $20 bill?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. But
what I heard back before Trump was elected, they were going to keep what's his face with Andrew on they were going to keep him on the back of the bill, and she would be on the front, which
It's stupid.
that's
That's ridiculous.
stupid. That they would keep the slave master on the same bill with her, just in the back.
Yeah, that's completely
Now
inappropriate.
maybe right, it
On
is.
so many
So-
levels that's inappropriate. When he owned slaves, and she was she was de facto free of slaves, and she just didn't want to free. Remember, she just did not want to free the slaves physically.
Mhm.
She wanted to free them mentally
Yeah.
Right.
as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, like I said, I'm gonna say it one more time, to put her on the bill and not build into that, they're only using her image as this empty type of symbolism to tie us into trying to have some type of reparative ownership, within this government, when we really truly don't need to.
Like that foolishness Clyburn was talking. I don't know his first name. That politician or whatever.
James Clyburn.
Yeah, him. With that, talking about he wanted to lift every voice and sing another national anthem to bring about a healing between us and racist white people.
Those 73 million people that voted for Trump are not trying to sing Kumbaya with y'all. They're not trying to do that.
I ain't trying to sing it with them either. First of all, Lift Every Voice and Sing was born out of our trauma.
Mhm.
The brutalization that was exacted upon us. It came from that. That's where that song came from. I do not want to be standing next to no Caucasian singing Lift Every Voice and Sing. They should not be singing that song. They
I've
shouldn't
heard
be
it
singing.
at a Catholic mass, like I told him before. I said I've heard it.
Mhm.
Yeah, you told me
surprised.
that.
I was like,
I don't want to.
I was shocked.
I have.
You know what I'm saying?
I haven't witnessed. I don't want to see it. And
I was shocked with that, because I know with some of the experiences that I've had, and even some of our churches, some of our people don't even know it. They don't even care to sing it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
I know all three verses. I know all three verses of Lift Every Voice and Sing.
We had to learn them in the right choir. In the right choir.
And I don't want to sing it with Karen and Sally and Ken and Connor and them.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay.
But
I'm not.
before I even forget, I was just like, what with them trying to erase us. But I said, you know what? If they even do that, it's only to their own downfall when it comes to some of these immigrants that are coming in, just like how you said, from the Latino side. What they do not understand is a lot of these people, they come here and they are putting their money to the side. They ain't looking to stay here. So you could go ahead and bring them all in and let them take all our jobs and all that stuff, because as soon as they get their money, they are out of here. And then then who's left here to do? Oh, you ain't want us before, but see, we gonna already have our nation by the time that happens.
Right.
I can't wait.
And a lot of the jobs that they're doing. Let me put this out here too. A lot of the jobs that they're doing, Black folks don't want to do them jobs no more.
Yep.
You can't get us to do a lot of that stuff that they do in the fields and all that other stuff. Black folks ain't trying to do that. We ain't trying to do that no more. And that's a lot of us. That's most of us ain't trying to get out there and do that no more.
Not even understanding that's we the first master masons.
Right.
Truck something, do the landscaping and all that stuff, but because having that whip on your back for 400 plus years, it's like, oh nah, I don't want to do that.
Right.
The ownership and the freedom is in the farming. It's in all that type of stuff. We don't want to be self-sufficient. A lot of us don't want to be self-sufficient.
Right.
Anymore. We just want to live modern, and
right.
Nothing wrong with being modern, but we need to start monetizing and capitalizing off of these things, these everyday things that we need in life. We don't think about making socks, we want to make fancy, dancy clothes and stuff, but we don't think about, I'm starting to see it now, but things that people need. I don't see a lot of Black owned toothbrushes or, hair brushes or anything, like just the stuff that you need for your everyday living that, we still rely
Right.
Uh,
Most definitely.
I mean, well, I know of a Black-owned company that does make toilet paper and other household products.
I've heard of that, yeah, too, as well.
Freedom Paper, freedompaper.com,
Yeah.
freedompapercompany.com,
Okay.
freedompapercompany.com. Yeah. I actually have written a couple of commercials for them. Back. It was before COVID really took over, and and I heard that the commercial was on Quayle TV, that Black-owned streaming.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's owned by a sister.
Okay.
Right.
Quayle TV. Yeah. I recently subscribed to it. So.
Well, I wanted to point out because the sister did bring up something about farming.
Oh yes.
Now as far as, and I did say that a lot of that type of work, that a lot of the Mexicans, we really don't want to do that. That's only in the context of what I'm talking about, doing that for other people. And when it comes to farming, we've always had a great tradition of farming here because we've always been an agrarian people. We've always known how to, till the ground and exact the riches and call the riches from the ground.
Yeah.
It's just that we were always the victims of systemic racism when it came to farming as well. That 90% of Black-owned farmland was taken from us because of racist policies that were put into the government. They legislated, their racism into the government, and that's why you see a dearth. That's why there is a dearth of Black farmers, to this very day. Although, from what I'm hearing, they're trying to repair that. This administration is trying to repair that with legislation that's going to be coming forward. That's going to, in a sense, tie us back to the land, and and they're going to be given, from what I hear, this is what I only hear, they're going to be giving out land grants and trying to tie us back into the land, and actually, putting money in, helping us, to put money into the land as well. So we'll believe it when we see it, but I just wanted to clear that up, that in terms of us owning the land as Black farmers, we can do that, but as far as out there, just the way they used to have us, in the fields and with the cotton, and Black folks ain't trying to do, we're not trying to do that no more, unless we're going to have, unless we're going to be able to have some type of ownership on the other side of that. That's what I meant by that. So, but you were like 143 into it, y'all. And so we can probably go for a little bit longer, but I don't want to keep. We did have a lot of people, and we had a few people in. Saying it is a Wednesday night, so we did have a few people in. Right now, we don't have anybody in here at all.
Okay.
So we're just gonna go ahead and tie it up.
Okay.
Just
Alrighty.
Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and wrap it up. We've taken. I feel we've taken it to the point where we could take it as far as looking back on 2020 and and seeing what we're going to be doing as a people moving forward. So if y'all have anything else to say, go ahead and say it, and I may I'll say my little southern words, and then we'll go ahead and we'll just wrap this up.
Let's
You
say
got
let's
anything?
look forward, that kind of stay focused on that Sankofa, it's only so much that we can do in the midst of the climate that we're in right now. But, one thing they can't stop us from doing is thinking and planning and meditating and speaking and manifesting, so everything's not all dead. Death is not really all around us, but this is also opportunity to set some things, set the tone of a lot of things, not only just for this year, but just even the rest of this decade, and just years to come even after that. But just to not necessarily let 2020 carry so much into 2021. I'm sure a lot of stuff, even in our own personal lives, people still want to bring old drama from 2021, but we are not having that. And hopefully, I mean, even though Black History Month is 365 days a year, hopefully, maybe some type of fire can catch on in the people next month, in February, may this February, take a different turn. And that's just the thing I just put out there, let people begin to catch a fire and start wanting to be consumed with, learning about our people and working together. So
I'm going to behave. Because when you said that, because I was going back to this church service I was at about 3 years ago. I don't know if I told you about a content.
I don't know. Remind me. You might have.
It was at the last church I was a member of in D.C. I ain't gonna
Okay.
say the name of it, but you know what it was.
Yep. I remember what you're talking
It's
about.
not City of Refuge. It's the other.
No, I know.
Okay, so the last one, not the last time, but one of the last times I was there, it was in a February, like 3 years ago, and they did their Black History moment. Okay, so they had this brother get up and his sister get up, and they started talking and doing their Black History presentation, and it started off good, and they was talking about how we started off from greatness and so forth and so forth, and then that moment turned into it went from that into talking about this Caucasoid who once ran a slave ship and owned slaves who supposedly had a change of heart, and he wrote this song. And you know what song it is.
Yes, I do.
And so of course the Black History moment turned into a celebration of him. They started celebrating
I
him.
have been spoken of, so
And they started singing that song. And I was sitting and I was sitting in the congregation like, what the fuck is this? Honestly.
Literally, right?
I couldn't say it out loud, but I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is supposed to be, what you say?
I said, to say it exactly like that, it's just like, sorry, Lord, that's just what came out of the depth of my spirit.
I didn't say it out loud, but it was in my, I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is supposed to be a celebration of our people, and you turned it into a celebration of this Caucasian because he supposedly got delivered and he wrote this song, which Black people love to sing, and we don't have no business singing that. Who saved a wretch like me? We're not wretches. We as Black people have never been wretches. He was a damn wretch who wrote the song, not us. So we don't have no business singing that song.
Right.
But what I want to leave Black people with, one of the things that I came up with when we first started doing King Talk is that, let's stop talking at each other and let's start talking with each other.
With each other, yeah.
So that's what I want to leave you with, Black people.
Okay. What I wanted to say is, I agree. I completely, I agree. That song, they were running that song in the whole right before the inaugurations. Everybody was getting up and singing that song. They did that thing.
I heard they had golf
where they was doing the, with the obelisk and everything, and they had the sister come out and sing that song, and then Garth Brooks came out
I heard
on the inauguration and sang that song. So they try to roll. They try to roll out, keep our
I'm glad
minds
I saw
rolled
that.
in
And,
that
and,
Negro. They try to
and,
keep our minds rolled in that Negro type of mentality to to where we just we don't know whether we going to come, and just put it like that. But
and President Obama, he sang a little stanza of it
we sure did, didn't he?
at the memorial service for our brothers and sisters who were shot down in that church in Charleston, South Carolina. He started
Right.
singing that song. I'm
And,
like, okay.
and from what I hear, that mofo. Let me put this out here. That mofo is still alive, and what the Trump administration did right before they left is they did something with they lifted some restriction as far as the death row inmates. We understand that most of those death row inmates were black men,
Mm-hmm.
and some of those black men, they're as far as what they were charged with, there were gross inconsistencies with what they were charged with, but most of those black men went to their doom. That was the parting gift
Wow.
from that troglodyte, that orange troglodyte. He lifted those restrictions, and a lot of those black men were, summarily executed. Several black men were summarily executed. That's what he did before he went out.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
They just showed us all the pardons. That's all.
Right, but you want to pardon if all these other folks. That sort of a thing. So we understand, family. We completely understand what's going on. We understand where we are as a people. Those who are conscious, we understand that we have a job to do now under this new administration.
Yeah.
We understand moving forward that in every area of our lives, we have to show ourselves up financially, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, in a familial sense too, on all levels. Individually and collectively, we have to show ourselves up as a people. The next 2 years, the next 3 years, going towards 2024 are crucial because they're voting not to convict this man. That's what they're doing. They're saying we basically have we have the right to buck our laws, and then we also have a right to kill you for not supposedly following our laws. And so we understand that the laws in themselves are fraud. And why are they fraud? Because they make them fraud.
Exactly.
Right.
Because they reserve the right to not follow their laws when it suits their convenience not to do so. But yet still on the back end, Black folks and melaninated people are getting killed for those same laws. So we understand moving forward from the 2021 that we got to do everything that we need to do to show ourselves up as a people and unify on all them, unify and move as a collective unit so that when 2024 roll around, we won't care who. We'll be so shored up and we'll be so in solidarity as a people that we won't care who's in the White House. We won't care who's voting for who because we'll be already down, for one another. That sort of thing. That's my deal.
I want that so bad. I want that so bad.
Yeah. And you got to be, and the thing about it is, brothers, you got to be able to see it. You can't allow that cynicism, to understand and I get weary. We all get weary. But you can't allow that cynicism to
I haven't given up. I'm
not saying you are. I'm just saying you can't allow that to sap your resolve. It's going to happen for some of us, yes, and for some of us, it's not. It's not meant to be. It's not going to happen, and that's okay. Y'all catch up when y'all catch up, but we know what we have to do, and we know, we know what we got to do moving forward.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's my last word and take on the night as far
Okay.
as this build is concerned. So,
All right.
I want to thank the beautiful sister, our queen, Content Johnson, for coming on and sharing her strengths, her hopes, her experiences, for speaking so eloquently, for sharing your energy. And you are always welcome here, Sister Queen, at King Talk. I
And
just
go
want to say, we're very, very happy and very, very grateful for you being here.
yeah, and go check out her album with her reggae band, Proverbs Reggae Band. Where can it
Definitely
be
check it
found
out,
at?
fam. I will
Where,
definitely be checking it out
where,
myself.
tell the audience where your album can
So
be
you can find
found.
my album and you can find the band's album
Okay.
on all the platforms, just anywhere: Amazon, iTunes, Pandora, TikTok, Spotify, everywhere.
Okay.
Awesome.
YouTube,
Awesome.
you can stream it on YouTube.
Okay.
I would also like to thank our recurring guest, Deshaun Favard, for coming, sharing his strengths and hosting experiences. And also would like to thank, the brother Tony B for coming and sharing his strengths and hosting experiences as well. And always, my esteemed co-host, the incomparable Cortez Ransom. Thanks as always. He's a little tired, because he's got a lot in the, you got a lot of odds in the Fire family, so he's a little spent, but he's always his his great self, that sort of thing.
And
And
I want to also thank, even though she couldn't get on here tonight because of the device she was using, I want to still thank Kenya, because she was trying to get on here. We're gonna get both of the goddess
I
sisters
know.
on
I
here
can't wait to
at the
meet
same time.
her. Can't wait to meet her.
Yeah,
we love
y'all need to meet.
our black queens.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. We
she
love our
sings-
black queens, and we
Yeah.
honor and love our black queens and our black goddesses here on King Talk.
Definitely.
We
Yeah.
do it here.
Yes,
So,
we do. And she sings too, and she also writes songs as
Okay.
well.
right,
Yeah. And she's an actress. She's very talented.
Okay.
Yeah.
right.
I'm just blessed to know you all,
So-
and I can't wait to just one day, touch bases, in person,
Yes,
Let's
yes.
try to do this live.
Yeah.
We've been wanting to, to take King Talk live and, and actually live in a live venue, because that's, of course, that's the plans we had for it, but, we understand, what we're under
Right.
and, what we got to do about that and that sort of thing. So we will continue to move forward
Okay.
with that. I am Alex Iowas, and,
And I'm Cortez Ransom.
And so, to thank the family, the one that's in the that's out here now, we would like to thank you, for showing up, and all of the family for showing up. The brother Jeff Ragland for showing up, and the brother Tony, what's his name? Tony
Johnson.
Tony Johnson for showing up, and added to this build on tonight. And so I'm about to start the music, and we're gonna wrap this up, family. And it's been a good one. As always, that sort of thing. It's we're just gonna continue, and it is what it is, but it's always very, very inspiring and
All right.
that sort of thing. So let me go ahead and turn the music on. So everybody who was supposed to be here tonight, like I said, our sister Queen, Kenya Chase. Hopefully we will see you the next time. Our brother Adam L. Hopefully, we will see you the next time, as well.
Yeah, cuz
All right, family.
Black Gold of the Sun.
Black Gold of the Sun, most definitely. Right at almost 2 hours.
They named it. They named the song after you, Content.
Oh,
You that black gold,
I
sister.
like it.
And we are definitely black gold of the sun, family. We all are.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are.
All right, y'all.
I'm the black gold of the sun.
All right, y'all.
Black gold of the sun. All right, family.
All right, all right, all right, all right.
Bye.
Good night, bye. Or good night, night, night. Love y'all.
Love you too.
All right, Cortez. I'll see you on the other side.
All right.